Yo, yo, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, that computer, the camera through that looks good. That looks really good.
Yeah,
On the Mac?
yeah, it's work.
Nice. All right. Nice. There we cruising in. We got Brian. We got Ross. We got Eugene. Got some robot note takers. Nice. All right. Let's kick it off with some wins. What are some things so far that you've just noticed based on everything we talked about the last 4 days? Whether you've been practicing or just noticing it passively out in the world, or even with yourself. Like, give me some wins, give me some things we've noticed so far.
Yes, Zach, I had an opportunity to had a networking call with one of my industry peers, which is a closer. So I applied that psychology regarding, okay, what this person actually want and what they are actually looking for. So the pillars which you have mentioned, the triangle. So I just followed that. So clearly, jumped directly into her, personal goal, which actually, they are really wanted to make a change into. So that was literally a win for me.
That's awesome, dude. Great job. It's kind of like seeing something different.
Yeah.
Right? Seeing a different side of people. So that's awesome. Cool. Any others?
Yeah, hi Zach.
Hey, Brian.
Good to see you again. This week, probably the biggest takeaway I've got from these sessions is understanding like already the kind of clients I have. This week, I've made a pivotal kind of discovery. I realized the client I'm working with at the moment, I was offering them the wrong thing, and they are not interested in money as such. They're more interested in having a store or having a business that gives them some kind of status, some kind of reputation. And this week, as I've turned the conversations towards that, she's warming up pretty nice, and I like how things are going. So yeah, thanks. That has been a huge success for me.
That's awesome. Good job. Yeah, and today we'll talk about how to put it all together. And yeah, dude, great job. Yeah, it's funny when you see, because we always think it's about money, right? With business, anything business, but money's always a means to something else, right? One of the biggest mindsets of abundance is realizing that there's always something more important than money, because you can always make more money, because money just comes and goes. All right, you can make a lot of money, you can lose a lot of money, you can make it back, and I think when you get too money fixated, which a lot of people do, which I know I do in cycles, because sometimes that's literally one of the needs that we're going after. It's easy to let that cloud us or cloud our vision for what we think what the person really wants. But like you said, this person doesn't want the money. The person wants the recognition, right? The status. This person wants to be seen a certain way from the store. So that's awesome. Another blind spot with this stuff, guys, is we will hang on one sec. I just have my internet booted. I'm gonna switch to my computer. All right. Can you guys hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Awesome. All right, cool. So awesome. Good to see you guys too. So another blind spot with this stuff that's very common is it's normally want to project what we think and what we want onto everybody else. So in other words, it's normal to think that because we want to make more money, which I'm guessing is kind of everyone's goal for being here, because that was kind of what the challenge was about, right? So it's a safe assumption to assume that everybody wants to make more money. And I haven't gotten to know each one of you super well individually yet. I'm sure I will and learn more. But if the main thing we're looking for right now is making more money, it's easy to think that's what everybody else wants, right? Because we have this natural tendency as humans. It's a bug. It's a bug in the operating system. Do you guys hear the noise in the background, by the way? Is it loud, or can you guys hear me okay? Okay, wow. It's like construction, but Zoom is really good. All right.
We can,
so
I
we have this natural tendency to want to think that everyone else thinks the way that we do. So because we want money or because we want status, we tend to think everybody else wants that. But that's why it's so important to use empathy, which is really what we're getting here, and discover what it is that people really want. So today I'm going to walk through how to recap everything we went over, and then how to put it all together into a process, a system. And this is the closest it's going to get to a formula. But kind of like we talked about yesterday, there's no magic formula of you say these specific words and everything happens. Right? The formula, I'm going to give you a framework for it, but the formula is all in the situation in the individual. So you're going to use this differently with anybody you encounter. That sound exciting? Thumbs up if you're excited. Thumbs up if you want to hear this and use this. Awesome. Nice. All right. So starts on this building block of confidence. Now, we talked a little bit about it, right? Confidence is this thing that unconsciously communicates to other people that they can listen, that they can pay attention. It communicates certainty. It gives people this ability to follow. Right? It gives people this comfort and this safety, this ability to comfortably follow your lead. Right? And if you don't have this, people won't think they can follow you. People won't trust that you can lead them where they want to go. So confidence is really, really important. Now, what is confidence? Confidence is really comfort. Like, do I feel comfortable? Does this person clearly feel comfortable with themselves, with this conversation, with what we're discussing? Is this person just comfortable with this? Indicating, because what does that tell our brain? That tells our brain, if this person's comfortable, then they must have done this before. If this person's comfortable doing that, they must have done it before and done it successfully. That's what your brain assumes. Right? Does anybody here think this is my first time teaching or speaking or doing any of this material? No. Pretty comfortable with it. Does anybody think I'm reading off of a script or like a prepped note sheet or anything like that? No. I'm very comfortable with this material because I teach this literally all the time. So comfort indicates, now this could be my first time. You don't know, nobody here actually knows, unless you've seen me speak, except for Velko, because Velko's on my team. But for the most part, unless you've seen me speak or teach before, you don't know for a fact that I've taught this before. You don't know for a fact that this isn't my first time, right? If you haven't seen that. But my confidence and my comfort in doing it tells your brain that I have done this before and that I've had success with it, and therefore you can listen. So there's a lot do you see how much is communicated just through confidence? Right? It's not just about like the energy or the tonality you use. It literally tells the other person that you've done this before and it's worked out okay. So, comfort. And then the other part to confidence is certainty that everything will work out. And I don't have a shorter word to say that, but it's this certainty that no matter what happens, whether I get this sale or the next one or the next one, I'm certain that I'm going to make this a sale. I'm certain that there's going to be success. If again, I like to use dating as a comparison because there's a lot of parallels, right? Confidence with dating certainty is if it doesn't work out with this partner, it's going to work out with the next one. If it doesn't work out with them, it's going to work out with the next one. And no matter what, I'm certain that the outcome that I want, right? We're going back to the focus. Up here, this picture that I see in my head that I want of me being happy and loved and wealthy and rich and all the things I want. I'm certain that this is going to happen no matter what. I just don't know exactly how. I don't know exactly when, but I'm certain it's going to happen. That's confidence, comfort, and certainty. Everything will work out. That's the base. That's everything is built on that foundation. So, is this making sense? All right, awesome. So, confidence. Next, once I've got and confidence is it's a thing. It's kind of like fitness, right? Is you can get it, but there's always room for improvement. There's always a work in progress, and the things you do create your confidence. Right, so you can get it through experience, but that's not necessary. A lot of people think confidence, there's a saying out there that confidence comes from competence, which is true to an extent, right? Which basically means once I get good at something and I master it, then I get confidence. Then I get to be certain, I get to be relaxed around it. But I actually think that's a limiting belief because there are confident people that have never done something. Right? There are confident con men. They're liars, but they're confident. Right? They communicate that. There's a really good example there's a movie called Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio. Anybody know that one? Yeah. So his whole thing, and someone pointed this out to me, one of my mentors, but his whole thing was that he was confident in things he'd never done before. He was confident in being a pilot. He was confident being a doctor. He was confident in things he actually had no confidence in. Right? He was completely confident. So confidence is not, there's people have this thing like they need permission to be confident. Right? People think they need permission or they need to do, I can't be confident until I do X, Y, Z. But that's not true. You can be confident right now. Right? You can literally allow yourself to be confident. Now there's, I'm not gonna go super deep into this, but there's a way to improve. You might be asking like, how do I improve my confidence? Right? That sounds cool, but how to become more confident? Some of you might be thinking that. Well, there's a couple ways to do it. Good news is it can be done pretty quickly. But it's by practicing being more comfortable and by just holding on to that focus, that vision, that certainty that things will work out. And I'll go more a little bit later at the end because I told you guys the other day, and I've had a couple people reach out to me actually about potentially wanting to work further or do like deeper level courses. So I'm not going to do some big sales pitch, but I will open that door, make that opportunity at the end. So one of those things is confidence for the people, probably not for everybody, but for the maybe like 2 or 3 people that have been asking. I'll show you more about how to actually increase that because there's a method to it. So once we've got confidence, next thing we want is we want to know, we need a profile. I need to know, who am I talking to? All right. So we'll go to a profile. I want to look at I want to understand the picture in their head of what they want and their current situation. Right? What do they see happening right now that they want to change? And what do they see happening that they want? I want that picture in their mind. I want to know, let's see. There you go. That looks a little prettier. All right. So I want to know the picture in their mind of what they want. I want to know the picture in their mind of their current situation. Right. Not, and I don't want, I'm stuck. I don't want, I don't want some vague emotional term that doesn't mean anything. Right. Someone tells me they're stuck. I don't know what that means. Right. If someone tells me I'm procrastinating, I still don't know what that means. That could look like it's something different for everybody. So what I want to know is, and that's usually where people will start because most people have really poor awareness of what's actually going on, as you probably noticed with others or possibly maybe with yourself. So most people have very poor awareness of what's actually going on. So this is where questions to dig deeper go in. And again, most sales scripts have good questions and a good framework, but if you go by the script, you're gonna miss things. I promise you, if you just go by a script like a robot, you're gonna miss things. So if I say, what's the biggest challenge right now, they're gonna go, I'm procrastinating a lot. And you go, got it. If you're following the script, you're gonna go, got it. And how long has that been going on? Or what do you mean procrastinating? And they might give you something, right? They might be like, well, I'm just not getting my work done. I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. You go, got it. But you didn't go deep enough. You have not gotten to what's actually happening. So I might say, cool, walk me through a day. What do you see could do? Like, do this real quick. Close your eyes and think about the last time you were procrastinating. Where were you? What were you supposed to be doing? What were you doing instead? Right? I need this person to pull up a visual picture in their mind. That's the only way I'm going to really understand them and understand what's going on. And then I say, what do you want? You say, oh, I want to just be more focused. Got it. What do you mean? Like, what does that look like to you? Right? When you see yourself being more focused, what do you see happening? No, I see myself getting up out of bed and just being on, and I get on my computer and I get all my work done by 2:00. Got it. Right? So you see the difference between like very, very vague problems and very specific pictures, right? Really important. This is how you get in someone's head in a way that helps them, right? But this is what it actually looks like. It doesn't have to go that, you don't have to, it's not that hard. You don't have to go that much deeper than you're probably going right now, right? But like Evgie and Brian, like you guys are doing this, right? You guys are seeing, like, so great job guys for implementing this, and anybody watching the recording, good job for even practicing this stuff and testing something different. Because it takes a lot of your brain. Remember what we talked about on day one, your brain is literally hardwired to defend its current habits, its current beliefs. So to get out and do something different, even a little bit different, is actually proof of change. It's proof that you want to change, that you have the capability to make a change. So even just a little bit, and it all starts with awareness. So I love that you guys are implementing this. So next part of the profile, so once I know is the picture in their minds, I'm going to get down to what do they really want. big four. Right? There's big four of um, yeah, those big four, right? Where those main top four things, like what do they really want? What's the picture in their mind? What do they really want? What's up, Carlos? Good to see you, man. So we got the picture in their mind. So once I've got my confidence dialed in, I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling abundant. It's another part to abundance. Another word, by the way, this certainty for that everything will work out. Actually, a better word for this is abundance. Right? People think abundance is like I just sit around and everything magically flows to me. I mean, kinda, but it's more just this belief that everything's going to work out, right? I can spend money because I'm confident I'm going to make more. I can let that sales call go because I'm confident that the next one will work. I can let that relationship or that partner go or that person go because I'm confident there will be more. Right? That's really what abundance is just that belief. So confidence is comfort plus abundance. Good definition. So got that locked in and
Well,
confident
that's this.
I'm less needy, right? Now I don't need this sale necessarily because I've got the next one. Right? And if that doesn't work, I've got the next one. Right? Again, just personal examples, right? Like I said, a couple of people have reached out about wanting to work more. So something might happen from this, but if not, I've got people in my pipeline. I've got people on my phone. I've got appointments for next week. I've got people to circle back. So it doesn't matter. No one deal matters. No one incident matters because there's always more behind it, right? And that's the real secret of abundance, and that puts you in a different mindset than I really, really need this one to work out. All right, so really important. Once I can do that, then I can get out of my own worrying about myself because now I'm not worried about this is the only opportunity for me. Now I can actually focus on the other person. So I can get in their head and say, well, what do they want? What does it look like? Right? And then the last piece of this, kind of like we talked about yesterday, is what is the story they're in? And what's the story that this person is living in? What is this person, when this person's thinking back over their life and their situation, what's the story that they're telling themselves? How do I know what story they're telling themselves? You just ask them what's going on, and people love to tell you their story. Most people have a story of struggle, of failure, of things not working out. A lot of people love it. Some people don't actually want to change it. They'll tell you they do, but they don't because they love the struggle. But there's a story that they're in. So that's your profile. So once I know I've got my confidence, I'm feeling good, they can trust me, and then I know who I'm talking to. The last piece of this is to influence. And this can look like a lot of different things. So this might be where I ask for the sale. Oh, it's for sale. Ask for the date. Ask, get the guard to cut the line. Right? There's all sorts of different influence because I hate to sound like a cliche salesperson, but there are a lot of people out there who say everything is sales. It's true, right? Everything is sort of sale, whether you're selling somebody on giving you their credit card, somebody on going on a date with you, somebody on letting you cut the line, or here's another type of influence. Let's say you need to influence a friend to make better choices. Anybody have a friend that they wish they could maybe help a little bit, or a family member, or somebody that you wish you could help, you could do something for? You just sell that person, right? This is a sell. Yeah, good, awesome. You're selling that person on making a different choice, on thinking differently and being different. But what do we try to do? We either sit there and watch as we can't help them, or we sit there and we try to just like convince them or throw things at their conscious logical mind, right? Hey, you should really stop doing that. You should really stop smoking, right? You should really stop smoking because it's really bad for you. Yeah, I know it is, but blah, blah, blah. Right? Then they go back to smoking or whatever they're doing, right? So, because we're going back from day one, a lot of times we're trying to talk to the logical mind, the rational mind that's protected by all those tripwires that we talked about, where it's asking, can I ignore this? Is this a threat? Do I need to fight? Do I need to eat it? Do I need to date with it? Right? And even then, it wants to protect itself. So it's throwing a lot of that logic, that data, that information you're giving it just right out the window. So if I have a friend, let's use the smoking example, just because I've done this quite a bit. If I have confidence that the person can quit smoking and I can help them, and then if I see the picture in their mind, right? If I ask them why do they want to, now if they don't want to quit, but if they don't want to make any sort of change, I'm also not in the business of like forcing people to do things they don't want to do, right? Really important. I'm only in the business of helping people with things that they actually want. Right. So if somebody doesn't want to change, I'm not here to force them to change. The greatest gift that you can give people is the freedom to just be themselves and live their lives. Right. It is the best gift that you can give them. But if they want help, then you can also give that to them. So I want someone to quit smoking though, and I know they want to quit smoking. Then I ask them, what do they see when they smoke? And they see themselves. I'll give you an example. Actually, I did this at a, I guess it was like an awards ceremony. There was this awards ceremony for this industry in Austin, and I ended up meeting up with some of the people afterwards, and two of them wanted to quit smoking. And for both of them, it ended up being, the picture they saw was them wasting time, right? Wasting time, wasting their life. And when we really got down to it, missing opportunities with their kids and their family because they were smoking and they were cutting time off their life. So what does that person want? Actually want? From the big four.
I'd assume they want time.
What was that?
Time.
Time. Yes. Which comes down to what? What do we, if we had to filter that down, they want time. Exactly. Go one level deeper. Out of the big four. So self-preservation, money, love, or
Love, love, because with the time they have, they'll be able to spend with their family. Maybe money, because they'll probably be able to get and seize more opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
I think those two.
Yep. Good. Good thought process. Careless nailed it. It was self-preservation was the big one. Now, some people ask though. I think Brian, actually, you asked me like, sometimes I see different multiples of these with the person. Right? I think that was you that was in the DMs of asking about that. So all of these are present, and that's why this can be a little bit challenging sometimes at first. This is why this is also more of an art than a science. Right? This is not a spreadsheet. This is yeah, good. So, but here's why, right? So, Brian, you weren't wrong, right? Here's the important thing, Brian. You weren't wrong. It wasn't not love and money, but there's always a best answer. Right? There's always a best answer. So they're all going to be present. Every single one of us wants all of those things. Right? We all want those things, but at any given moment, one's going to be bigger than the other. Now, here's why that one was self-preservation, because what they were talking about was time. They weren't talking about. They didn't talk about money directly. Like that could be kind of implied, that could be inferred, but I would say money was, so recognition was probably the weakest, right? That wasn't there. It wasn't got seen by the people. Money didn't really come up and wasn't mentioned. Love is a really good guess because they did want to be able to spend more time with their family, with their kids, with their people that they love. But the conversation really kept coming down to the quality of time and missing time, losing time. So if they're talking about something they're losing, here's kind of the key to seeing this. If they're talking about avoiding loss in any way, it's likely self-preservation. Because they're like, I don't want to miss out on this time. I want to enjoy my life. Right now, I'm not enjoying my life because I'm wasting all this time and I feel like shit all the time. I want to be able to enjoy my life and live longer and spend more time with me. Right. So that's why. Does that make sense, Brian? Yeah. Okay.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. Like I said, you weren't wrong. And these always going to be present. And if I really wanted to stack the deck, I might layer in a little bit. In fact, I did I did it through hypnosis. Hang on one sec. Oh man, when you have to sneeze, and it starts to go, then it stops. So that was that. So anyways, so I hypnotized. I got rid of the smoking thing through hypnosis, which is kind of my one of my skills that I use. And when I did layer in a little bit of the other pieces. Right? I did layer in when I was painting this picture for her because I knew what she wanted. I layered in making more money and being healthier and getting more love and people around her loving her. So I layered all of those things in, but I really hammered on the quality of life and the time. Right. So, good. And then the story she was in was that she'd been smoking for a long time and she tried to quit and couldn't before. Right. Really important. She tried to quit before and couldn't. It always kept going back. Been smoking for a long time, and it's a coping mechanism from her mom and her dad and blah 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 blah. Right? They've got a story, and she's in a story. She's in a story where quitting smoking is really hard and impossible. And she's tried before and failed. By the way, everybody you're talking to, if they still have a problem, they haven't solved it yet, which means they've tried before and failed. You'll probably see a video. I'm at this event here with this business event, and one of the women last night was talking about how there's some stuff with her with her mom that she wants to resolve. And she's like, but I don't want to keep working on this because like every time I work with a coach, or every time I work with somebody, we just keep working on the same thing. I go, oh, so it's not fixed then. She goes, oh shit, I guess it's not fixed then. She kind of didn't want to work on it because she was sick of working on it, but also she was really sick of working on it and not fixing it. So I kind of had her make that realization, and the really important realization people need to have an influence is why they've failed. And I'm going to get into this here in just a minute when I wrap up this one. We'll probably go a few minutes over today, guys. So if anybody has to hop off, we'll get the replays out. Also, shout out to Velko. If you guys don't know Velko, Velko's on my team. Technically his title is appointment setter, but he does way more than that. So I hate to even like reduce him to that. But he's been really good with like getting replays out, messages out, just helping to organize this whole thing. So just want you guys to know who else is behind the scenes, because he's been really help keep this whole thing moving. So we'll get this out, but if you guys got to bounce, then you got to bounce. But here's how. So a really important part to this too is you've got to give them a reason. You got to change their story, because right now their story, if they've got a problem that they still have and they're stuck on it, nice. Yeah, thanks guys. If they've got a problem that they still have and they're still fixated on it, that means they've tried to fix it, which is great. If they've never even tried to fix it, I'm questioning, because I'm like, do you want to fix it? They're like, I've never even tried to quit smoking. I just, I'm like, okay, well, do you want to quit? Well, no. Okay, cool. I'm going to give them the freedom to do what they want to do until they decide they want to make a change. Right. So I find out, right, that I help her come to the realization that she hasn't actually resolved her issue. She spent a lot of time and effort trying to fix it, but she hasn't actually resolved it. So I'm going to have the times of the day. Like I said, I'll probably turn it into a reel because she's cool with it. She's in the business space as well. But what I had to do then is get into the story, right, of all these things that have happened. And again, people give you their story. People are desperate. Everyone's secretly lonely and disconnected and wants to be heard and understood. Every single person you ever meet is secretly lonely. Again, show of hands for anyone who wants to. Anybody ever feel like secretly lonely sometimes and feel like you can't talk to anybody, or feel like you can't, right? Maybe just me, but for the most part, most people you meet are going to have some sort of like secret loneliness that they don't want to talk about, they don't want to admit, don't want to acknowledge, because it's really dark, it's really painful. Everybody's got it. Now don't put people on the spot with it. Don't like point it out to people like I just did to you guys, because that's weird. I'm doing it for an illustration right now. But generally speaking, if you attack somebody, then they're going to get defensive. Right? If you say, "Oh, you're secretly lonely," they're going to, "No, I'm not. I feel great, connected, and happy all the time." Right? They're going to get that. So don't do that. Instead, though, knowing that this is happening, what I need to do, or what you need to do, is we need to give them a justified reason why what they did, their plan hasn't worked yet. Because if you tried a bunch of things to fix an issue and you still haven't fixed it, you probably feel like kind of a failure. You probably feel like kind of a loser, right? Maybe you feel like you're stuck and you can never fix it. That's the way most people feel about most things. So if I want to really help somebody, I need to give them a scapegoat. I need to give them a villain. I need to give them a reason why what they're doing didn't work. So how do I do this? So here's kind of the formula for, here's the closest thing I'm going to give you to a formula as far as for sales. So first thing, I want to know, what's the problem specifically? Number two, I want to know, why hasn't it been solved? I've tried this, I've tried everything, and it hasn't worked. Great. Sometimes people might tell you that what they think is missing. Most of the time, they're not going to know, because if they knew, they would have done it. They would have changed it already. So what's the problem and why hasn't it been solved? Then what does life look and feel like when I when I solve it? Right. So I want them to get clear on the problem. Why hasn't it been solved? And then I want them to know what life looks and feels like when they solve it. Okay. And this is where we're going to really focus on those big four, right? So when I'm talking about her quitting smoking, we're focused on how much time she's going to get back, how much time she's going to spend enjoying life, right? I'll sprinkle in, you're going to feel better, have more energy, so you're going to make more money. I'll sprinkle in, you're going to feel more love and connection. I'll sprinkle in, people are going to notice the new you that's quit smoking and is really confident, feeling amazing. I'm going to sprinkle those in. right? I'm not going to ignore those completely because everybody wants those, but my main focus is on the biggest one, which is self-preservation, which in her case, for her words for that were quality of time, quality of life, living one more time. Next, and this is the key part. This is the biggest piece right here. And this is the part that will take the blame off of their shoulders and give them confidence and trust in you. Because what most people do, here's what I see a lot of people do in sales. They kind of cover these, like, what do you want? How's it going on? Kind of all those normal sales questions. And again, the more nuanced questions to ask these, you can get those. Alex Rosie's sales script has all this. Name a sales trainer. Their sales scripts cover these questions in different ways. And there's a lot of different questions you can use to ask. This is why I'm a big fan of using real communication rather than a script, though, because if I'm saying I can listen to what the person says. If I'm like, oh, that something, there was something there, right? They said something, there's something there. I'm not jumping to the next question in the script. I'm jumping on the thing that I heard them say that I know probably needs attention. Right. So once I know those things, though, here's the really, really critical piece. And if you don't have this, they're not going to have trust in you, and they may not trust. They probably won't trust themselves, because if you tried and failed, and I really tried, like a lot of people have, and they failed, they're probably going to believe that they can't do it. They don't trust themselves. Right. So if you ever hear somebody say, people will say this too. They're like, no, I trust you. I trust the process. The program looks good. I just don't trust myself. I don't think I can finish it. Anybody heard some version of that? Right. So yeah, really common. So here's how you get rid of that. What's different now? In other words, I need them to see why their old plan was shit. This new plan is awesome. So what am I really, the mechanism, what am I really selling them? I'm really selling them on the plan. All right. I'm saying, yeah, of course you didn't try. Of course you tried to quit smoking before and finish. Right. Of course you tried to quit, or excuse me. Of course you tried to quit and fail before. Right. Because you're using your conscious mind. This is what I would say to the smoking person. Of course you tried to quit and fail before, because you're using your conscious mind, which has like 0.1% of your brain power, and you're trying to override these deep habits that are ingrained deeply into your brain and your body. Right. Of course you failed. That's why everybody fails. What's different though is I'm going to use this. I'm going to use hypnosis. We're going to go into your subconscious, and we're going to make changes like that, where we can actually change things very, very quickly. And afterwards, you're going to feel amazing. You're never going to want to smoke again. Cool. So now I've taken the blame off of her or off of them for their failures. Now they don't feel like they failed. Oh, I didn't fail. I just had a shitty plan. Anybody done that, by the way? You tried something, it didn't work, then you realized you were just doing it wrong. It's not the big. This is the big thing where you'll see this in marketing too. A lot of times they're like, "It's not your fault," is a phrase that they use to do this. Right? It's not your fault, but don't worry. You tried this, but don't worry, it's not your fault. Here's whose fault it really is. Here's why it's really happening. That's kind of what they're saying with that. Right? But the biggest thing is I need to see what's different now is they had a plan before that sucked, and I need to here's why their plan didn't work. Right? Oh, um, you're trying to lose weight. I get it, you're trying to lose weight, but your plan was to do nothing and just like hope that things would change and you magically lose weight. So with this new plan, though, we're gonna actually do something. We're actually go to the gym and eat differently, right? And I'm not the fitness guy, so I don't know exactly how fitness trainers pitch their stuff, but I think you guys get what I mean. So big thing, critical piece. This is missing is what's different now, and I need them to see what's different. Right? I need them to see that this plan is superior to their old plan, and it takes the blame off of their chest, off their shoulders. You'll actually see people when this clicks for people. I usually don't use the exact words. It's not your fault, but I'll use this I'll go meta with this. I'll use this for sales for what we're doing right now. Right. What's different now? The reason a lot of sales stuff hasn't worked is because you were using superficial tactics and you were following a script as opposed to understanding the person below it. But human beings are not spreadsheets. Human beings are not formulas. Human beings are unique and different. And this is an art in being able to read and understand people. And so now, like some of you guys were saying earlier, now this is different. Now you have a different understanding of human psychology and human behavior. And now you have a different level of influence, right? And this is, again, guys, this is just scratching the surface. This goes very, very deep. But so that's what's different now. And then the last piece is what should they do? What should you do? Well, if you're in sales, what you should do is you should pull out and give me your credit card. Right? If it's a date, well, you should give me your number, go on a date. If it's you can quit smoking, you should sit here and go into hypnosis, right? If I'm selling, because I'm not actually hypnotizing somebody at this point. I have to sell her on hypnosis as a mechanism. I have to sell her on doing it, right? So the next thing for her to do is come sit here, right? Sit down there and get ready to go into trance, right? So what should they do is always just what's the next step? What's the next thing they should do? Not the next 20 steps. That's confusing and scary. It sounds like a lot. What's just the next thing that they should do? Next step in this pathway. So is this making sense, guys? Awesome. Now, if we take these, so I didn't talk about this yesterday, but real quick. Here's the 3 parts of a story. You got the setup, which is the current situation. You've got the setup usually has a goal plus a challenge, right? The character wants something in the story. They want something. They're in the world. They want something, and there's something in the way. They don't have it, right? No story ever goes, yeah, everything's cool. I was just chilling and everything was good. That's not a story, right? So setup, goal, and challenge. Failed attempts at solving problem plus problem. Goal plus problem. Failed attempts at solving the problem. Right? Any story you've read, any book, any movie, anything you've read is going to have these failed attempts at solving the problem. Then you're going to have a big insight or change, right? Then something's different. In other words, what's different now? Something's different. Right? Luke Skywalker meets Obi-Wan Kenobi and learns the Force. Or Luke Skywalker goes to hang out with Yoda in the swamp for Star Wars people. Big insight change. And then the resolution plus life is different now. Right? These are the concepts of the story. Every single story that you've ever heard or read or watched on a movie or anything this is the basic framework of it. So here's the situation right now. Here's the world. There's a goal. There's a problem. Here's all the failed attempts at solving the problem. Then something changes, and then you get what you want, and life is different. So when you're taking somebody through the sales process, what you're really doing is you're taking them through the story, and they've gotten stuck on the story right here. They've gotten through these first 2. They have a goal. They have a problem. They've had failed attempts at solving a problem. Right? You are here. Right? This is where you are. When you're talking to somebody, when you're meeting somebody, you're right here in between failed attempts at solving the problems and the big insight change. If I can give them that big insight, that change, then they can get the result, get the resolution, and life is different now. How is life different now? What does life look like? Do you see how this is exactly this sales method, this sales framework is also a way of changing their story, finishing their story, and helping their story and with what they want? Cool. So this is the formula. If there's such a thing as a formula, this is how I look at it. You've got to have the inner game down. You've got to have the confidence down. If you don't have confidence, none of the rest of this works because people will not follow you or listen to you because you're not confident enough. They don't trust that you can lead them to where they want to go. I tell you, I've got this really cool top secret process that'll make all your dreams come true. But I don't seem like I've got my shit together. I seem like I'm stressed and anxious. Probably not going to trust me as much as if I seem like I've got my shit together. I've got the result that I'm offering, and I seem confident that I can do it. Another way to build that, by the way, is to have proof of results, proof of experience. Because confidence doesn't necessarily come from competence, but it certainly helps. If I have a lot of a case, if I have a bank of positive experiences, positive outcomes, positive results for people, then that stacks to my confidence, that stacks my authority, and that gives me more of it, and it lets them see more of it. So it's a bonus, but it's not the main course, so to speak. So got to get my confidence, got to get my inner side dialed. Next, I need to know who I'm talking to. What is the person exactly going through? And noticing here, none of this is about me, as one of my mentors talk about. Nobody cares about your shiny shit, which is a phrase that I love, which is basically like nowhere in here is here's how cool my program is, here's how cool I am. Let me tell you all the top features. Let me great. Let me tell you how great this piece of software is. Let me tell you, none of that is in here. They don't care. They literally don't care. Nobody cares except for you. Right? So nowhere in here. What is the key through this? It's all about the other person. Influence. Everything in sales and influence and everything you do is about the other person. And there's a reason that we started out this course and started out this week with you guys practicing empathy and getting in the other person's head. Not in a weird way, but understanding what is actually going on in this person's head. That's where this all starts. And that's the most important piece of this. All right. Nowhere in here is here's how my thing is. The closest it comes to is here's this new plan. It's not even my plan. It's just here's a plan. Here's a better plan. Here's a plan that's worked for me and for all these other people. Probably work for you too. Right? That's the closest it comes. But nowhere in here is here's how cool I am. Here's my story. None of that. Nobody cares. I made this mistake for a long time because if you guys don't know, my story is someone I'm told it's someone interesting. Right? Navy SEAL training, brain injury, brain stuff. I'm not going to go into it because you guys don't actually care. But for a long time, I thought that was the kind of the thing people cared about. But not a big deal. People are like, oh, that's cool, but it doesn't make them actually want to work with you. It doesn't make them actually want to change. It might get you a little bit of a foot in the door, but it's not what people care about because everybody cares about themselves. Everybody is sitting here thinking, what's in it for me? If you go to an event, anybody here gone to like a social event and you're like, everyone's nervous, everyone's judging me, I'm nervous, I feel like everybody's paying attention to me, judging me. Anybody done that ever? Just me? All right, well, I've done that a lot. And the insight is when you realize that everybody's doing that, everybody's worried that everyone else is watching them. So everybody's sitting here almost borderline narcissistically being like, everyone in the room is paying attention to me. But the reality is everybody's paying attention to themselves, thinking that everyone's paying attention to them. So I think it's pretty funny. So this is it, guys. This is, if you can implement this, and again, this goes a lot deeper. There's a lot more to this, but this is the basics of it. And you've got to get brilliant on the basics before you even try to go with anything more high speed or more advanced. So this is the formula. Get your confidence dialed, figure out who you're talking to, understand the other person, and then lead them through a different story and finish their story the way they want. And this is how you pretty much get anybody to do anything. Right? If you look at not just sales and personal life, but if you look at any historical event where a leader may have gotten a country to do some bad stuff, this applies. If whatever country you're in right now, I guarantee your politicians are doing the same shit. Here's the problem. It hasn't been solved because those other guys, they're really bad. But don't you guys want lower taxes and to have your kids go to school safely and cheaper healthcare? Right? That's what life looks like. What's different now? Oh, they're different now. That other party, they were focused on stealing your money and they sucked. Here's the new plan though. We're going to take care of you. So what you should do, vote for me. You see, this is everything. Every single thing that anybody influences anybody to do ever goes through this framework, goes through this formula. Everything. So that is the conclusion of this 5-day challenge. So what I want you guys to do with this is keep practicing this, right? This doesn't stop today. Hopefully this, at least for some of you, here's what usually happens. Here's what I've noticed typically happens is some people will have a massive shift, a massive breakthrough and change their behavior, which is really cool. Some people go, that's cool. I sat through, watched some cool videos and got some good information. And then they'll go back to doing what they were doing. Because information does not change shit. Notice nowhere in here did I talk about how the brain actually works. Right? It doesn't matter. I give you guys the decision-making framework, but nowhere in here did I talk about chemicals or any of the brain parts. None of it matters. Because the information doesn't make the change. So some people are going to have a massive shift, massive breakthrough. Some people are going to do nothing. And either way, whatever's best for you is best for you, right? Here's my encouragement to you is use this stuff, practice this stuff, go back through these videos. I'm going to turn this into a course because I'm actually pretty happy with how the content came out. We'll trim out some of the chit chats and stuff like that, but content wise, we're going to use this, but I will, yeah, we'll figure out what we're doing with that. So we'll send out the replays though a little bit later today. And then if anybody wanted some personal help, because I know a couple people reached out to me, some people who are here and some people who are watching the replay. So if you wanted some hands-on help with any of this, right? If you wanted some help with either increasing your confidence, your inner game, your inner confidence, and your authority, so that you actually had that comfort, that certainty, that abundance. There's a process for that. That basically, in about 21 to 30 days, it'll completely rewire your brain chemistry to feel awesome and feel great. So there's that, and then the other side to it is the actual how to actually do this, right? And going through more examples, going a little bit deeper into some of the how-to, the more tactical, like how do we actually do this, right? This is an overview, this is a framework, but there's very deeper ways to go into some of the language patterns and some things like that. So if anybody, okay, so I'm reading a couple private messages. Cool. So if anybody wants, again, I'm not done some big sales pitch right now or anything like that. If anybody either live on this call or you're watching the replay, drop a, you can send it privately too. You can either drop a 1 in the chat right here, and we'll reach out to you and kind of see what's going on, see what might be best for you. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can shoot me a message in Messenger or whatever platform you came from, and just say, hey, curious about learning next steps, learning more. Got a few different options. Awesome, Brian. We'll hit you up here in a little bit. Yeah, so the biggest thing, again, I don't have some big sales pitch or something like prepared or anything like that, because I don't know exactly what each person here needs. But those are kind of the two pieces, is the inner game, the confidence, and the external, the profiling. Like I said, this stuff goes a lot deeper, but master the basics first. So what are some, real quick then, and Brian, yeah, so Brian will reach out to you here in a little bit. What are some, because just for my own feedback too, drop either you can come on live and share, or drop in the chat. What are some kind of some takeaways? What'd you take away from this? You know, some of you guys have been here for 5 days. You know, you have a lot of things you could be doing. So it means a lot to me that you come and spend the time doing this. So what are some wins? What are some takeaways? How was this training for you guys?
Hey, Zach.
Hey,
The training is phenomenal. You know, I'm already excited to leave you a post on my feed. How it made me feel and how it changed my thinking about the sales. If you remember, you know, I mentioned that one of the things I was doing that in reverse. So basically, you know, I was doing the differentiation and novelty part, but you know, I would go straight to the value, and like I'm familiar with this, noticing the value system, and you know, like noticing their patterns. You know, how did the emotional formation happens? What is the craving? Well, the problem was that instead of creating a safe environment, I would straight go to the value, and a value very often would trigger them, and that would just basically start the threat mechanism, and they would feel that it's threat. Because if I would reflect now on myself, like, you know, let's say a couple years ago, there were some conversations where if you would to make me feel vulnerable, I would just retreat, and I couldn't speak with you. You know, there has to be a certain degree of authority or closeness, so I could speak with you, right? But in more or less ways, when you know, when I had all the experiences with other people trying to sell me something, or me having conversation, I know that the threat mechanism is real. So that was the biggest game changer, and I honestly tested this with my wife and my coworkers. Yeah, man, I was kind of, you know, lowering their guards and then going into a bit more precise conversations that would often be a bit harder with them, or they would feel a bit challenging, you know, for them. And I had incredible results. You know, we had this safe conversation. We had ease, so there was no, you know, regularly we have this lowering guard that would be like a lecture for them. They would take that as a lecture. They would look like they've been in lecture, but it wasn't like that. So that's a highly effective part that influenced my process of a conversation.
awesome, man. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, nowhere in there is lecture the other person. right? But what you understand, and that triggering that tripwire, that safety tripwire, it's like setting off the fire alarm in the building. You're like, fuck, now everything's loud and I can't do what I was doing. You have to go back to the control panel and turn it off, or like it's a whole. You can overcome it, but it's so hard once you've tripped that. So yeah, it's really really good. If people feel like you're being lectured, nobody who here likes to be lectured.
I like to be lectured, you know, if there is. Like I'm very self-honest for the last couple of years, Zach. So I don't see the problem with that. If the person has what to say, I don't need to feel attacked. You know, I'm in a position where I'm capable of receiving that. But what we are talking about, this threat mechanism, you know, there is some pattern in you that you need to protect yourself from being exposed to your own vulnerabilities. That's different kind of mentality game, right? But if you are if you're in the field, you are ex-military, as if I remember well, and you're being given constructive criticism, and you start to feel like you're threatened, and you stopped listening, you're not learning. That's dangerous game to play, right? So where I'm coming from is really the majority of a society. They have this certain degree of emotional intelligence and self-honesty for vulnerability, but not everywhere and not with everyone. You have to be someone for them so they can listen to you and really take the lecture. So yeah, but it's a game changer, man. Like I'm telling you, it's fundamentals, and it was so. I was laughing, really. I was laughing, man. So I'm just triggering the threat mechanism in people. So how can I expect to make a sale?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, well, very well said. Yeah, you said something key. I'll touch on this real quick, and then we can bounce. Is people will listen to a lecture or like information we given to them, but they have to grant you the authority to lecture them. Right? They have to grant you that authority. Like you said, you have to be somebody. You have to be somebody that they trust, that you respect your opinion, and they want to hear it. Which is why a lot of this is, again, I want to understand the person. If I make the other person feel understood, like I care about them, and I'm coming from a genuine place of actually wanting to help this person, they're a lot more likely to grant me that authority than if I just come in and start telling them, here's the way that it is. And they're like, well, who the fuck are you? Why do you think you can talk to me? Like, that's where you'll get that. And Carlos, you have most, like you said, most people are not that way, right? Remember that too. Like, even just the fact that you guys are here, everybody here cares about personal development. Everybody here has chosen some sort of uncommon path that's actually pretty rare, right? Just the fact that you're here. So you got to remember too, this sample size and us, it's very, remember I said at the beginning, it's very easy to think everybody else thinks and sees the world the way we do. But you got to remember, most people aren't in any personal development. Most people never read a book after high school. Most people most people quit sales after, I don't know the statistics on it, but a lot of people quit sales and business within the first year, realizing it's hard. So everybody here is uncommonly driven in a way that most people are not. And this comes with another mistake I see sometimes on this is some of these people think that because I've done XYZ, that makes me better than other people, which I'm certainly guilty of that. I've done that in the past. But it's not about being better than the other person. It's about you're carrying this burden, right? This weight of leadership, and nobody else can carry it for you. Nobody else, like it's just, you've got to carry it. The closest you can get, the best thing you can get is you can get somebody else who is also carrying that same weight and can look at you and say, I see you, I get it, head up, stay strong, tighten your packs here, like, but nobody else can carry the weight for you. Nobody can carry it for you, which is why this is hard. Right? There is a weight, there's a burden of leadership. There's a burden of taking on this journey. But what the alternative is, do nothing and stay where you are and don't grow after, stop growing when you're 20, 21, 22. So I have a ton of respect for everybody that's here. And it's about the journey, right? It doesn't matter where you are, whether it's day one and you're just getting started, whether you've been in it for 20 years and you're still going, or somewhere in between. It literally doesn't matter. I just have so much respect for everybody on the journey that wants to spend the time to learn, to grow, to get better. Because at the end of the day, guys, zoom out a little bit. Okay? At the end of the day, this is changing the world. This is helping people. You're making the world a better place. And I want you to think of, if you can just help one person, and make their day a little bit better, then that spreads like a ripple. And then they go make someone else's day a little bit better. They go make someone else's day a little bit better. Right? Versus if I'm addicted to people and I'm putting people off and making people feel like shit. Now they feel like shit. They want to make other people feel like shit. So the things that you do, especially being in any sort of leadership position like you're in, the things you're doing are rippling out into the world, into society in ways that you can't even comprehend. You have no idea if the smile and the compliment that you gave somebody might have lifted their day enough and they were thinking about doing something bad or hurting themselves, and now they're not going to. You have no idea the impact that you're making. And that's one of the things that keeps me going when I feel like quitting or giving up, which I do sometimes. That's normal. One of the things that keeps me going is, things like this. Or getting messages from people like, oh, that helped me, or that video that you posted that I almost didn't want to post changed my, help me make my day better, change my life. Right? So I encourage you guys to focus bigger picture, focus on the impact you're making, focus on the help you're helping for people. The best way you can help people is to help them make different and better decisions. You do that by being a persuasive authority. Nice. Wanted to wrap up with that phrase.
Excuse me, Zach. Zach, just a minute.
Yep.
Before you wrap up, also, I would like to say thank you for what you've been providing. I've only been here for some period of the week, but this week you helped me save an account I was about to lose in a business. There was some poor delivery throughout the week, but coming into the call with the client, she was very emotional, very angsty, but I was able to read through her words. Like right now, after these few sessions, I'm hearing through people's words, not actually hearing their words. Like I'm subconsciously seeing what this person is thinking, how they are feeling, the position they are in, and it's great because I got to pull down the triggers, pull down all the walls, get them in a safe place, and we're able to renegotiate the kind of work we were doing for her. So hey, if maybe you didn't get anything else out of this, you saved a guy in Kenya from losing an account, and that means a lot to me and my family. So thank you so much.
Dude, that was awesome. Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that, and great job. Right. So give it up for Brian, guys. That's awesome. So great job. So congratulations on the account, your family. Why did that happen? It didn't happen because you sat here and watched some videos. It happened because you took some information and you said, how can I actually use this and apply this? Or you actually did something with it. So that's what it is, right? And this has been 5 days. It's pretty quick. It's been pretty quick courses or quick sessions. Imagine what happens if you practice this for a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year. It gets fun. So I appreciate you sharing that, dude. Thank you. Congratulations, too. Great job. Cool. Any last any other parting thoughts, questions, anything else before we out? So I know we went a little bit over today, which Velko has been every single day. He's like, it's got to be longer next time. I'm like, I agree. So
look, maybe I know probably this might sound out of place, but hey, I'm in Kenya. We don't have this too much, and if I don't ask, I'll have lost my chance.
yeah,
Maybe for me, with this information you're giving, I'm really appreciating it. It's making a huge difference. My problem is that for most of these like online sales, and especially like high tickets over the phone or maybe over Zoom or whatever, I don't get to practice too much with people. Maybe probably even with the guys who are also listening, maybe is there anyone who can connect so we can try to do some kind of mock sales and try to practice off of each other, because at least this is a group of people I see with whom we have common interest. Or maybe if Zach, you have a platform or something of the sort, maybe you can maybe tell us something of in that direction, because for me, if I didn't ask, I wouldn't get any help. And in Kenya here, the caliber, the same way you've said, most people don't study a book beyond high school. Most people don't get into self-improvement. Even the salespeople out here in my country, the ones with whom I interact daily, they're not really too much into this, and so they also don't get good results. So I'm limited in terms of the number of people I can interact with and have like these kinds of big brain kind of energy, big brain kind of sales conversation. So yeah, if maybe that's something that we can organize or something like that, I'd really appreciate. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good. Great job asking. Evgene dropped. Yeah, Evgene, please go ahead. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'd love for you guys to connect to that. Just again, it's more of a value add for this. This is awesome. So yeah, feel free to Brian, jump in there. It sounds like you've got a community and we'll check that out. So that's awesome. Thanks, Evgene. Appreciate that. So yeah, jump in. Yeah, you guys connect. yeah, practice with AI. I haven't seen any. I'm sure they have exist. There's new AI stuff coming up every day. There's probably AI like sales trading platforms. So cool.
Yeah, Zach, it's really not about the platform, it's about the prompt. So you can just use the chat GPT and ask it to be a salesperson who has one of the four needs in a hierarchy system, and you even can ask for specific objections to be involved in the conversation. And of course, it's not not verbal on a free version, right? But it still gives you kind of this space of rationalization about how you should approach each part and where it leads. So all they need to do is really take a screenshot of your classes, put it in AI, and ask AI to role play with them, and they will do an incredible practice with your teachings.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate that. Maybe we'll take this. Velko will chat about that later. Maybe we can take these transcripts and create a little AI practice bot. So I appreciate that. That's a good idea. Thank you. Cool. All right, guys. I got to bounce to something else right now, but I just appreciate you guys all so much. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate your kind words. Brian will be in touch in a little bit. I'm glad you guys connect with each other as well. You know, this is a group. We're all over the world, but everybody here has some things in common. So thank you guys so much. Have an awesome rest of your day. And please keep practicing. Whether you continue working with me, doing some other stuff, I'll keep you guys updated to future courses, classes, challenges, workshops, things like this. Biggest thing right now, guys, don't let this just be like some cool videos you watched. Go practice this stuff and you'll get better and better. I mean, shout out to Brian for like using it to save an account this week. You'll get better at it the more you use it. And then it just becomes internalized and you just won't even have to think about it. So, all right, guys, go become a persuasive authority and change the world. Peace.